make ourselves available from an administration standpoint, particularly the sheriff, to have a one-on-one relationship with the stewards that represent your union. Not all of you get a chance to come to the table. We either meet in my office, sometimes we'll go to a caribou. I think we went to Dunn Brothers last time. They have a one-on-one conversation, but I think your stewards, your representatives, do a good job of representing your interests. And keep in mind that I do a lot of things day in and day out. I travel no less than 125 miles a day across this county. It's a big place. About 1/3 of our workforce works here at the ADC. Others work other parts of the agency. But in terms of your union specifically, fairly confined to the ADC. My job as your sheriff is to be the spokesperson for the agency, to be the one that's out there every day being your biggest cheerleader, advocating for what's important for you with the 1.2 million residents of this county and the other things we do collectively. I always tell folks there's three things that the sheriff does. One is public safety, which is fairly easy, whether it's a line of business in the jail, whether it's out on patrol, whether it's 911 dispatch or the crime lab or any part in between. Secondly is about public policy, advocating for good public policy both on the national level, whether it's at the White House or Congress, here at the state level with our senators and representatives and the governor, or sometimes locally working with city councils and mayors and watershed districts and Lake Minnetonka Conservation District, all points in between. And the third part is public service, which is what we do every day. Like it or not, we're all public employees. You're a public employee, I'm a public employee. We provide a public service to the residents of Hennepin County who employ us. The day-to-day operations of the Sheriff's Office is run through the Chief Deputy, Mike Carlson. I'm adamant about that. I don't interfere in day-to-day operational issues of the Sheriff's Office. And my job is to interact with the other elected officials in the county, whether it's the 7 commissioners, on occasion, more often than not, county administration, and or, like I said, 45 mayors, about 450 different sets of city council members, 201 state legislators, 2 Congress people that work for us, both in terms of Paulson and Ellison, and the 2 U.S. Senators, Klobuchar and Franken. That's what I do day in and day out. I think we've come a long ways over the last 8 years. I think about, the first time I had a chance to come before what then was Teamsters, not MNPEA, but Teamsters, and we had a conversation about who the best candidate was for a sheriff of this county. And you had a fairly clear choice. Neither one of us had a track record. We both had our backgrounds, different life experiences, wisdom, on-the-job experience that we brought to the table, and the residents of the county chose. And they chose again in 2010 when I got reelected, and I'm hoping they'll so choose in 2014. And I'd like to do it with your help. I'd like to do it with your support. And I understand if you're not able to do that. But I think the choice between the candidates this time around is clear as well. I've got 8 years of track history and experience with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. I think I understand the day-to-day operations of this agency. I understand what makes the Sheriff's Office tick. I know that you're in contract negotiations and or your contract is up for vote, by the way. Is it back? You got it done?
No, it should go out on Friday.
Oh, it hasn't been out yet. All right. I think the sworn deputies just brought theirs back yesterday or the day before, and 3.5 and 3.5, correct, Mike? Which is what's offered to the detention as well. Exact same offer. And so, we'll see where that goes. Collectively, then on January 1st, you get what is retroactive 14, and then moving into 15, got the same, I think, parameters. And so I'd like you to consider giving me another chance to serve a 3rd term as your sheriff. It's going to be hard to beat me collectively. Like I said, we have good days, we have bad days. And please keep in mind that my best interest is for the overall benefit of this agency. The men and women who work here, people who get jammed up. If they get jammed up because they made a mistake and they took choice B instead of choice A, hey, we can work it out. But you know our parameters and our rules and what really irritates us. You also know what goes to move on. You don't have an easy job, there's no doubt about it. 40,000 people a year come through the front doors of the jail. About 37,000 get booked down here, another 2,000 to 2,200 get booked out in the suburbs. Not an easy task by any means. We ask you to do a lot, and we ask you to do it limited. The other day we hired 10 detention deputies, and I was telling Ben and, how do you say your name again?
Andy, too.
Yeah, and I told them that, look, we were able to hire 10. We were looking to hire 16. We couldn't find 16 to come in the front door to work in the detention ranks. Why? I'm not sure. Some of that's back on us and our recruitment, but some of this is back on our employees as a whole. We want to hire your brothers and sisters, your kids, your nieces, your nephews, your friends. Inspire them to come work here, and we'll give them an opportunity. It's not a bad thing, not a bad way to go. We are down several detention deputies. We want to hire again. Major Martin and the Administrative Services Bureau are working hard to get another list together. We suspect that we'll be hiring upwards of a dozen or more, hopefully before the fall is over, but I need the union's help to be able to do so. Secondly, the budget. People ask me about the 2015 budget proposal. We sent something out the other day, but it's not so easy to understand just from a couple paragraphs. Here's the bottom line. If I was a politically astute sheriff worried about my election in November, I would be submitting a 2.5% budget to the county board, because that's what they asked me for. Why the heck would I ever go above that when I'm up for re-election? But I didn't do that. I and my administration submitted an 8.8% budget on behalf of you, our employees here at the Sheriff's Office. Why? Because it's going to take a little over 5% just to break even from 14 to 15, so I don't lose any more employees like I lost over the last several years. And then another 3.5% so I can hire an additional 20 detention deputies and a couple other things that we need due to our medical issues with HCMC. That's the bottom line. I'm happy to stand for questions. I know you only had about 20-25 minutes. I'd rather hear what you want to ask, and if I can answer the question, I promise you I will. If I can't, I'll tell you I can't, and/or get back to you or one of the stewards with the answer you might be looking for. Mike?
Questions?
Go ahead.
You were just saying you're talking about 5% to keep us up, or are you talking about a 5% wage increase for next year?
No, as you know, well, let's be clear. You understand already, Phil, and I think your union leadership understands. I'm not so sure everybody understands. The sheriff doesn't negotiate your wages, right? That comes from the county board. Clear? And you agree with that? What I'm talking about is cost of living. In order to provide the 7% increase over 2 years, in order to account for the increases in fuel, in IT, in supplies, in our jail medical contract, it will take this agency 5% or 5.1% increase in 2015 just to maintain what you currently see here in 2014. Understand? So some people call that COLA. I don't know what the right term is. What I told County Administrator Huff and Budget Finance Director Dave Lawless the other day is it's 5.1% right off the top just to break even. So when you offer me 2.5%, understand this agency would then take a 2.5% decrease in our overall operating budget. Every 1% of our budget here in the Sheriff's Office is worth 18 first-year employees, whether you're detention or sworn. Make sense? So if I took a 2.5% politically correct budget in 2015, right off the top, I'd be down another 40 employees going into 2015. I don't want to be there, and I don't think you want to be there. Answer your question, Phil? Wade?
Hi. The 28-day schedule.
I know you.
I've seen you before too.
You're the kind of guy on Blogspeed.
That would be me. The 28-day schedule. 5 years ago, you put us on the 28-day schedule. It's fairly unpopular with the staff. For 5 years, every negotiation, we've tried to get the rules in writing. We're not saying you don't have the right to have your schedule. We've wanted the rules in writing. We've tried to negotiate language. Even up to 5 weeks ago, at negotiations, the administration has refused to discuss contract language. Suddenly, within the last couple of weeks, your administration has opened a discussion of other schedules, and I'm wondering why. And it just seems a little suspect, because it seems like the licensed deputies you were discussing schedules with as far back as February, and even just a few weeks ago, you guys wouldn't even discuss it with us.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, Wade, does anything not sound suspect to you?
It depends.
It depends. Well, that's fair. But let's be candid about this. 5 years ago, when we went to a 28-day schedule, we were very candid with the union leadership, including yourself, about why that had to happen, or the resultant effect would have been a decrease in detention deputies. We didn't want to do that. You didn't want to do that. You may not have agreed with the 28-day schedule, but given the budget crisis that the county and the state had and what they were giving us, it was the best way to go. It wasn't ideal, but it was the best way to go. Now, moving forward, the sworn deputies came to us months ago and asked us for an alternative schedule, primarily 10s, 12s, anything other than 8s, right? They want to work more hours, less days per year. But we considered it, we looked at it, we went back and forth, they did their homework. And they brought us a proposal several weeks ago. And we looked at it and said, you know, maybe we can do that. The economy's changed, the county board seems a little less, maybe a little more willing to work with us on this. And so we decided to open it up to the other unions as well, including MNPEA. Now, if that's not a good thing, then your steward should tell me it's not a good thing, we'll take it off the table. But I think it is a good thing, which is why we broadened the work groups the other day to include members of your union. And I think, Phil, you're serving correct? Ben? Anybody else? Mike? So that's, you know, there's no bait and switch. I've heard those words thrown around for a long time. This is candid. If it's good for the sworn deputies, it's probably going to be a pretty good deal for detention deputies as well. Now, if we can make it work, we want to make it work. Simple as that. And these guys can make it work for you. But you got to work with them. You got to tell them what it is. I told Mike candidly on the phone, no big surprise, look, I'm not going to go out on a limb to institute a schedule that I think works for the employees if the employees aren't going to support it. I didn't have any choice with the 28-day schedule. It was either do 28 days or lose a minimum of 17 of your employees. I chose to live to fight another day to keep your employees and choose the schedule. But this time around, 8 years later, 5 years later, as you say, you guys have to decide, and these guys can get it done for you if you so wish. Fair enough?
Sir, I think the concern is not the fact that you're willing to set a schedule in principle. We don't have a problem with that. Our problem is that unless rules and management systems to run that schedule are written down, quite frankly, it is being abused by lower level management. And there's a number of us here that over the time that the 28-day schedule has been in place have been told, oh, well, you know, this is how it works this week. No, it works a different way next week. We've put in level 2 grievances, and the answer has come back, it's not in your contract. So we're all open to schedules. All we want to see is the safeguards and the writing that describes how that schedule should work, so that basically we are protected from supervisors who will interpret it as they see fit and change that interpretation from week to week to week. That's really what we want. We want something in writing so that everybody understands how the schedule is supposed to work, agreed principles, and those should be held to. That has always been the issue, and we haven't had that. And that's where the skepticism is coming from.
Yeah. Fair enough. So bring it forward and let's get it done.
Can we have your commitment then that if we work on a new schedule, that you and your administration will provide written guidelines on how that schedule is to be implemented?
You have my commitment.
Thank you.
Oh, and I was just going to add, because the current contract reads for detention, this 6-3 schedule. That's how our current contract reads when they're working a 28-day schedule. So it didn't match. Our contract did not match what their schedule was.
Okay.
And so, but I mean, it's kind of a moot point because we gave a commitment.
What's a moot point? I mean, no big surprise. Many of you have been around for a long time, right? We didn't have the best working relationship with Teamsters and the leadership at the time. Pure and simple. You agree, Wade? We didn't have
I'd say there was differences for the reasons, but
fair enough. But we didn't have the best working relationship, and that relationship hindered getting a lot of stuff done at the end of the day. You have changed over 110%, truly. And this is nothing personal with Wade. Wade does his job and he does it well. But your union now has changed over 110% in terms of a working relationship. You now are willing to come to the table, you're willing to have those conversations, you're willing to bring things to our attention that maybe we weren't aware of. Again, I'm not down on the line every day, nor would you expect the sheriff to be down on the line the other day, every day. But you guys are. Bring them forward, and we'll resolve them one by one by one. That's my commitment to you, as it's been from day one. Mike, as I've told you, and Phil, and Ben, and others. Okay? What else? Go ahead.
Without better pay or better treatment or better schedule, how do you expect to attract professional employees in the next term?
Well, I think if, in fact, again, I got to be careful because as the employer, I have a hard time with your contract, and I can't talk to it or not to it. But let's just talk generalities. All right. I think if you got a 7% pay bump and it took you out of the lower tier to mid-tier or maybe a little bit higher, that's a good thing. I'm confident that working together with you, it's not just about what the sheriff provides you, because I don't negotiate your wages. I do not. Let's be candid about this.
Would you be in a
I negotiate terms and conditions of the contract, the management rights, county board, but work with me with the county board. Work with me to find commissioners that support us. Work with us to talk to county administration and be there when we do our budget. Don't fight the sheriff's office on what we're proposing. Help us when we are asking for additional FTEs. I asked for 20 FTEs in my 2015 budget. That's 20 more members of your union. That will give you relief. Come work with me when I go up there over the next several months to get this done. If you don't think it's a good thing, just tell me it's not a good thing and I'll pull it. But I think it's a good thing. Okay?
It's a good thing if you can attract the right people, but you try to get 16, you got 10, and I've seen those 10. You're not attracting professionals.
They said the same thing about you.
That works.
No, but understand this. Look, there are a lot of people retiring, right? It is hard to fill the positions. Have you looked outside with MNPEA, right? What do they say every day? They can't find the cops. We're having a hard time. St. Paul, Met Transit. You got not just the retirements, but you also got now the rebound or the bounce. People moving around, going from job to job to job. We traditionally hired about half of our sworn deputies from the detention deputy ranks. Why? Because we thought it was a great way to give somebody an opportunity, whether they're coming out of the military or wanting to start off with a family, to be able to do a job, to get benefits. If they want to be a sworn deputy, we'll help them get through school, we'll help them with the schedule to be able to do it. But if that's not the right way to go, then the union should have a conversation with us and tell us that's not a good way to go. I honestly don't know. We tried it both ways. We want the best people to be working here, particularly in your ranks. Best.
I'm a little unique. I'm the only telecommunicator here tonight. You know, we're at a critical stage right now with our employees. I think a lot of them would have liked to be here, but because we're being mandated on our days off, we're working 12-hour days, it's tough for people to get here. With what this gentleman just said, our qualified employees are not qualified at all. They're coming from housewives that have worked in a position for 10 years. I'm not sure what's happening between human resources. I'm a little confused. I've offered services to say I would love to participate and help hire, do whatever, but we're not getting anyone qualified coming in that door. And it's kind of disappointing. I don't know if there's confusion, because they'll say, well, there's human resources for sheriff's office and there's the human resources for Hennepin County, and it seems to go like this. There's no communication.
Yeah, we don't do the hiring process in the sheriff's office. I mean, this is what is confusing to people. If your brother or sister applied to be a telecommunicator or a detention deputy, he would do so in the county of Hennepin. The county of Hennepin screens based on their criteria. Eventually they will send us a list. The list will be pared down, maybe the 30 or the 40, and then we will look at it from there, start to do the backgrounds, et cetera,
and they look at those keywords that we provide certain keywords, so to speak. So a dispatcher could mean I dispatch for a trucking company, I dispatch for a pizza place, I dispatch for whatever. Again, I'm offering to help out, and it seems not to go anywhere. And I would
Contact me
hope
tomorrow,
that
I'll let you help out. Who you want to talk to?
I mean, I've talked to the, our current lieutenant,
So it's falling on deaf ears is what you're telling me.
somewhat, because they, I think, don't understand either how it all works. And I would like to see the availability for us to talk to human resource, someone from the sheriff's office to talk to them, because even when they go recruit, we sent someone, and what we saw in recruitment, human resources said, no, we don't want that kind. You know, I mean, it's difficult because these folks, we're stagnant right now. There's some that should be on the floor, and it's 6 months down the line, 7 months down the line, and there's nothing happening.
You can either, I'm not sure how to do this.
So, I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot a bit. I mean,
Well,
it's
I'm not
a
sure
little
what you're
loud.
asking me. If you're asking me if you can have an opportunity to sit down with
I
human
would love
resources and
to.
rank theirs, I'm
And I
happy
did
to
ask
arrange
if
it
the
for you.
union could, and
I'll arrange it for
I was told no.
Well, you asked the wrong people.
Well,
You asked up to your chain. Now you're here.
I was-
If you
yeah, I
want to
did
ask,
go up
then
my
ask your
chain,
union
sir.
and I'll arrange it.
I
Ask
did go
Ben
up
or
my
Mike
chain,
or
sir.
somebody to arrange it. I'll take
yes,
care of it.
I did go up my chain. So
One of the ideas I've had.
A lot of times it doesn't make it to me. That's what I'm trying to
no,
tell
I
you,
understand.
you know.
I understand that. I know I got shot down. I know that.
We haven't talked to him about this, but I have talked to a couple of employers. As there's a number of job fairs, and then of course there's the Correctional Association conference and all that. And we've offered to jointly set up booths that would be, I mean, obviously we want, you know, our logo there, and people to know that, you know, we're the union there, but it would be still predominantly looking at mainly people for employers that we represent, or, you know, where we represent people too. So that might be a possibility down the road too.
Okay. What
Sheriff,
else?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's like the Katie Couric interview.
Over the last few years, the detention deputy numbers have decreased as the license has increased. Can you tell me why? And is there a promoting to raise the numbers of detention versus the license back at least to a general area that it used to be?
Yeah, well, and it's a great question. You have a unique opportunity. It's what I was trying to tell you, what I've explained to Mike. Look, folks, make no mistake. We went from 817 employees in 2008. That was the high in this agency. And we're sitting at, what, 746 is our number? We actually have about 755, but we only have enough by what the county board allows us to spend. We're about 80.2% personnel funded, so 80% of our budget goes to pay salaries, etc. As senior folks retire and we hire younger folks, they come in at a lower wage so we can get up there. So we go from 746, 747 to about 755 or so. The bottom line is this. We're down 70 employees over the last 4 years. 70. The majority of those employees came from support services and detention deputy ranks. Sworn deputies have not gone up in numbers. Their authorized strength is 342. They're sitting at about 12 below that number today as I walk over here. You're sitting at about 7 or 8 below your, again, what I call authorized strength, or a number as we give the county board. And tried to hire 16, and we got 10. We will hire again in the fall, not just the 6 that I'm missing, but then the other 12 that we're missing as well. And like I said, I'd like to hire 17 the first of the year if the county board approves our budget. That's 17 in addition to what you have now in terms of your authorized strength. But we're 70 people short. People are strapped all over this agency. All over. The thing with the JO is you've got a static flow of people, right? Your numbers don't go up and they don't go down in terms of your clients or inmates or whatever you want to call them, miscreants. You have duty posts that you have to fill, right? And those aren't mandated by the sheriff, they're mandated by the Department of Corrections. County board doesn't want to acknowledge it, which is why you end up with this forced overtime at the end of the day. We have to fill those shifts. We've made our case to the county board about the funding for detention deputy ranks. What I'm asking is now join me, MNPEA, join me as a union in going to the county board and making the request to adequately staff your ranks and the sheriff's office for the number of people coming to the jail and the risk factors associated with working in the jail. Okay?
We do have plans on
Good.
setting up another meeting with commissioners too.
Good.
So it would help if Laszlo and I move our retirement up.
I know. What kind
For
of
what we pay
package
you
can
guys,
they
we
give
can hire
us?
4 people, so let's let the membership vote. What do you think? Okay, say aye. You're up.
Not you, Phil.
Well, it's being said about qualified applicants is that rule going to stay in effect. I mean, I've seen dozens of military people who, U.S. Army, USMC, can't get a job here because they have a tattoo that's visible on their arm, even though they'd be probably as qualified, if not more qualified than some of the applicants already. Is that going to change anything in the future?
I don't know. You know, I have a meeting tomorrow morning with General Nash because we really want to hire soldiers. All these people returning from the military, we love it. We love the folks who are you know, former active or currently in the Guard or the reserves. We've never shied away. We encourage it. We try and help them the best we can. I have a meeting tomorrow with General Nash. He's the Adjutant General for Minnesota. I have a good working relationship. You know as well as I do that even the military now has put some restrictions on where their tattoos are. That says a big thing. I don't know. I'm open to the discussion. I want to talk with Nash, General Nash tomorrow about what they're doing and why they're doing it. Other law enforcement agencies have done what we've done. We weren't the first. We're not the last. But we also know with, you know, the folks who are coming out of the service that it may be a little more problematic. I just need some more information about it. It's not a closed discussion by any means. By any means.
I got one that'll set you up here perfectly. As an employee
Tee it up, baby.
and a resident of Hennepin County, why should I vote for you and why should I remain employed under you?
Well, let me answer the second one first, right? I think, I'm going to answer the first one. This is what I tell people in this county. Look, how many of you live in the county? Yeah? But certainly, those of you that don't live here have an extended network of family, and friends, and relatives, etc., right? I can count my family going back. I've got over 140 people just in the Minneapolis itself, the Minneapolis area, from my extended family, not that I have influence over them. This is what I'd say. When I came in here in 2007, what I said we were going to do is what we've done. We have allocated all of our resources to the reduction of violent crime. Crime is down in this county 36% collectively, the violent crime, the rapes, the robberies, murder, the aggravated assault. We have worked, even in a tough economy, to maintain relatively stable in terms of the working environment and or the level of personnel. Some agencies have taken drastic reductions. Our reduction of our workforce was about 8 to 9%. Not pretty, but I also think the county board owes us some markers to come back and say, you know, it's time to reconsider. Time number one, to pay our employees what they should be paid, and secondly, then increase the number of employees concurrent with the workflow. I think those are important. You don't read about our folks on the front page of the paper every day. You don't read about it on the 9 and 10 o'clock news, right? You don't see them. People here act respectfully. People do things the right way. We spend a lot of time on training. We spend a lot of time on compassion, dignity, respect. Those are the orders of the day for the men and women who work not just in the correctional facility, but across this agency. And we have a few people that slip up once in a while, but I think we've been fair as employers, right? We use a number of last chance agreements to our benefit, including out at communications, and folks who work in the detention facility, and people who are sworn deputies across the agency. We're not looking to jam somebody up. We're looking for people to do this job with honor and integrity and to do their job each and every day as the public would expect. Nothing more, nothing less. I think what you expect from the sheriff and my command staff is an honest, straightforward answer. We don't shy away. I never go to a group, whether it's today coming over here and paying my respects to you by appearing here and allowing to be filmed and the whole bit, but at least I'm here. And anytime I have a chance in front of our employees of this agency, you'll get likewise. We don't shy away from the tough questions, ever.
We got maybe one more. Time for one more.
In the 5 years since you've had the 28-day schedule, I know personally a lot of deputies that have left. In their exit interviews, I know the schedule has come up. I mean, have you guys taken that data of why people are leaving and look at, if you don't want to move from the 28, I mean, it's obviously your decision, but maybe modifying the 28 to make it more employee friendly for the new people. Just an example, I'm on the bottom third seniority-wise on day shift. Over the holidays, I had to work 17 days with 2 single days off. And from me all the way down to the bottom of the day shift, we all pretty much got the same schedule. You know I work in a correctional facility on shift work. It's not always going to be fair, but I feel like I really got screwed there, to be honest.
I don't know you personally, but you're not Rick, are you?
No.
It's not the guy that...
No, but he's pretty much the same case.
Oh, they were telling me about somebody who has not had a weekend off.
Yeah, and I don't get weekends off,
Yes.
but I don't put in for them right now. But the point is that even new people on middle shift, or where there's most of the new people, or dog watch, they're going to run into the same issues where they're going to work 8 days in a row, get a day off, maybe have to work 6 more and get a few more days off. That kind of stuff, the message is sent is that your personal life is not important. Yet the job comes first. Your personal life is literally like hanging by 2 fingers off back bumpers, not even the back seat. And while, like I said, it's your choice to put this on our schedule, but can we look at maybe, until it gets changed, maybe look at trying to make it more equitable where people can have a personal life.
Well, I think you got 2 things going for you. First off, you're right, it's not fair. It's not fair. But you got 2 things going for you. One, you have the opportunity over the next several weeks through your union and the other unions to come up with a schedule that works. All I've asked at the end of the day is that you support that schedule. Some people want 8s, some want 10s, some want 12s, and no big surprise, some want 2, I mean, there is no consensus across the board. Secondly, understand that while we might set the schedule as management, the terms and conditions of that schedule was also set in joint agreement with the union. We left it up to them. You've got a new union on board, a union that understands your membership, a union that's willing to fight for your membership and do things the right way, and that's important. And I know you and I have not had a chance to sit down and talk about this before, but ask around. I think you'll find a different way of doing business with MNPEA versus the union that was here before, and the relationship with the Sheriff's Administration on how to resolve issues that, hey, isn't anybody's favorite. Okay?
Well, and one of the things I've stated too, I don't know if you were heard here earlier or not, but I talked to Rich directly on the phone and to Mike and to Tracy. And one of our expectations would be that we are looking at members across the board, and we are considering the fact that I came out of corrections too, so I get it. And you get killed. Now, obviously seniority will play an effect. You can't have as good. You got to work your way up. But I think your input and everyone that's more junior needs to be inputting to these people too.
Well, this also goes for hiring too. To be honest, if I have a choice between the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office and say Crystal PD, I have a friend that works there. He works 3/12, and then he has to work every other Saturday. But he's got a set schedule. He can look at his calendar 6 months from now and say, oh yeah, I'm going to have these days off. I can go on a trip somewhere. With the current schedule, I don't know if I'm going to get those days off. And our schedules now, I mean, obviously it's a contract issue that should have been worked out when we implemented this schedule, at least a letter of understanding. We get down to a shift bid, we know we're working 2 weeks out.
I'm just suggesting that there's more that went into it than maybe what you're aware of. Again, I'm prohibited from communicating with all of you about these issues individually or collectively, correct? So I have to resolve it through the union membership, or the leadership, I should say. And I can't help what the leadership sometimes tells the members or not tells the members.
Right now, though, your vehicle, it's wide open, again, to all of the employees. Get to the committee. Put these concerns in and look, and tell them you expect to see what these patterns look like and have your input. One more quick note.
Okay, just a quick comment.